We call the game Teammates in a Glove, and we're set to play now with TinCaps pitching coach Burt Hooton. Burt, thanks for the time. Promise not to get too excited about this.
Probably won't, no.
All right, good. So a reminder, if you haven't watched us play this one before, here in this set we've got a selection of names of guys who Burt was teammates with in the past, as well as guys who you played under or who you've coached 15 years in the big leagues with, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Rangers, and nearly 30 years as a coach. So we trimmed it down a little bit. Couldn't fit everyone here in this mitt. Ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right, start us off. Dig in.
Roger Clemens. Best pitcher in baseball for his era. Consummate professional. Great competitor. Great drive, great will to win, great will to be the best.
Fellow Longhorn with you, and you were with him with the Astros when you were the pitching coach there in 2004. What's it like to have that responsibility of being a pitching coach for one of the greatest pitchers of all time?
Well, when you have somebody like that, your job's really pretty easy. I mean, he's capable of coaching himself. Basically, you learn what he's doing when he's doing it well, and help him stay in that mold.
Great. So off to a good start there.
Fergie Jenkins, another Hall of Famer, consummate professional, really down-to-earth guy who was there my rookie year and really helped me out a whole lot. I learned a lot from him and learned a lot about how to go about your business. A winner. And somebody that any pitcher would do well to emulate.
What was something that you picked up from him as a rookie?
Well, basically how to prepare yourself for a game, how to go about your business in between starts. Watching him compete on a major league level consistently. When you're around someone like that, you want to kind of stay up with them, so they have a tendency to elevate your own game.
Oh, it looks like you were a good listener in that case.
Joe Ross. Joe Ross, pitcher I had here 2 years ago. He's pitching for the Washington Nationals now. Very good student. Probably mature beyond his age. He was 19 when I had him. Very good worker. Applied what he learned pretty quickly. He worked at his craft. For that young of an age, he learned how to be a professional at what he was doing and understood the work it takes to be pretty good at what he's doing, and it's paying off for him right now.
He made the jump from the TinCaps to the big leagues in about a year and a half. That surprised you at all, or could you see it in 2013?
I'm not surprised at all. He certainly had the ability. I think he had the mind, and he had the drive and the self-control. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm happy to see him doing what he's doing.
Yeah, doing very well for the Nationals so far. Almost a 2-for-1.
Randy Hundley, catcher for the Cubs. He caught my no-hitter. Probably one of the better catchers of the era back then, early 70s when I came up. Of course, he'd already been catching for quite a while by the time I got there. Good competitor, kind of a firebrand. One of the names you recognize from the Cubs of that era.
Yeah, you mentioned how he caught your no-hitter back in 1972. People may not realize it was also a career high for you in walks that day. 7 walks. What was the problem?
Well, we'd just come off a 13-day strike, and that was my first start 2 days after the strike was over. A little bit rusty, of course, that's what I would attribute it to. Anytime you go 13 days without actually pitching in competition, you're going to get a little bit rusty.
No hitter, not too bad today.
Well, evidently their hitters were a little rusty too.
Yeah.
So. Tommy Lasorda, Guy who helped me turn my career around at the end of my 3.5 years with the Cubs. I was kind of dwindling, not really pitching well. He had seen me pitch well in AAA for 2 months in 1971 when I pitched very, very well, struck out 135 guys, 102 innings. Pitched 2 games against his Spokane Indians, who had guys I eventually played with the Dodgers on it. Struck out 16 a game, 17 a game against him. And he always remembered how well I did. And 3.5 years later with the Cubs, I wasn't that same guy, and he had me come to the Dominican Republic and pitch for him. Eventually the Dodgers traded for me. Got my confidence back. He's a very good confidence builder, very good motivator, very good encourager, and he pretty much got me back on track again. And since then, has become a great friend. Always been a good friend. I can pick the phone up, call him anytime, just talk to him, see how he's doing. And one of my mentors. He not necessarily pitching so much, but just the confidence factor and the motivation factor and the encouraging factor. So learned a lot from him by being around that.
Earlier this season, when the TinCaps played the Dodgers affiliate at the Great Lakes Loans, he was in Midland, Michigan for the weekend. What was that reunion like?
Like it is all the time. It's like seeing an old friend. It's always great to see him. I mean, it's you don't reminisce about anything. How you doing? Everything going all right? Like to chat with him, and it's great seeing an old friend.
The guy who gave you the nickname Happy.
Ron Santo, another name synonymous with the Cubs of that era, Hall of Famer now. Another consummate professional. All those guys were. For a young kid to come into that kind of an environment right out of college, you didn't say a whole lot. You just watched and listened and tried to learn from how they went about their business, and just them accepting me, not having played that much in the minor leagues, and they were all pulling for me, and I'll always remember that and be thankful for that. But Ron Santo was a true pro.
I know there are a lot of Cubs fans who have enjoyed getting a chance to see you here in the Midwest the last few years. How about a couple more?
Billy Wagner, he was a closer for the Astros when I was the pitching coach there. Very good young man, another professional, perfectionist, even though he threw 100 miles an hour. Did learn how to pitch a little bit, which made him all the more that intimidating, and just fun guy to be around, easy to be around, easy to coach, and it was fun to watch him.
How did a guy of his stature throw as hard as he did?
God-given talent.
Maybe a Hall of Famer now at some point.
Well, certainly to be considered, but he was very good at what he did.
And he was a starter back in his Midwest League days.
Orel Hershiser. I like to tell everybody Orel was the guy that took my job when he came up to the Dodgers. Another guy that very good athlete, very good pitcher, very smart, great competitor. All the things you describe in a pitcher of his stature, and that's why he was as good as he was. But had the pitches, had the athleticism, had the determination, had the drive, had the will to win. You can say that about a lot of guys that are really, really good Major League Baseball players.
And you mentioned how someone like Fergie Jenkins helped to take you under his wing when you were coming up. What did you try to teach Orel when he was coming up as a rookie with the Dodgers?
Well, just keep in mind there's always somebody behind you that wants to take your job. So there's no letdown. And I think he took that to heart and ended up having a great career.
And now a broadcaster with the Dodgers. All right, let's make this the last one, Burt.
Tommy John. Tommy John was my roommate when I first got to the Dodgers. When I first got there, he couldn't pick a baseball up because he just had his surgery and was rehabbing from that. Just to watch what he went through to rehab, to get back to pitching in the major leagues is something I'll never forget. He's the only one that believed that he would ever pitch again. Everybody else said he was done. Everybody else said he couldn't pitch again because of the surgery he had, and he refused to believe it. Tedious, very tedious workman. When he couldn't even hold a baseball, he would come to the ballpark every day and just monotonously work out and work the hand, work the body. Tremendous determination, patience, perseverance, all those things that, you know, you sit there and watch. And, you know, I watched him for a year, and, you know, he wasn't going to pitch in a game, but he never stopped believing and ended up coming back and, you know, just actually having probably a better career after his surgery than he did before his surgery. So, you know, one guy that probably did things, and I watched things that I don't know how many human beings could do that, but just the drive and the determination he had was probably one of the most impressive things I've ever been around in baseball.
And now he has one of the most famous names in baseball because of the surgery named after him, but people may forget that he's a guy who won almost 300 games in his career.
Well, and, you know, he's a guy I think won 280-something games and is not in the Hall of Fame, who I think should be. And, you know, I don't, for whatever reason, but, you know, anybody wins 280-something games in the big leagues is a Hall of Famer in my book. And just to come back and do what he did is certainly worthy of Hall of Fame status.
Well, Burt, it's always great learning from you. Appreciate your time, and still have some good names in here like a Dallas Keuchel, Pedro Martinez. We may have to have a part 2 of this, but Burt, thank you again for the time.
You're welcome. My pleasure.